Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of our series on how to create your very own self-hosted website. I realize it's not self-hosted, but you're hosting it yourself, so basically self-hosted, just not at your house or whatever, or it could be in your house. I'm just showing you how to set it up on DigitalOcean and Cloudflare. So today we are going to be doing a couple things first, and then I'm going to show you how to create your web server using Bootstrap Studio, and we'll upload that to our virtual machine. So as you can see, we still have our Web 1 DNS record. I'm going to actually add a couple other DNS records right now. We're going to add one that is just our root domain, and we're going to point this now to our CNAME of web1.elevatedtech.systems. And we're actually going to proxy this. We're going to click save. Then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to type in www, and we're going to also proxy this to the same CNAME record. Basically, what this is doing is if your VM's IP were to ever change, your one in DigitalOcean, your droplet, if that ever changes, you can go here, edit your IP address, and change it to whatever else, and then these records will automatically update because they're just referencing this one. It's a little bit cleaner of a way to do that, in my opinion. So that's that. So now we have www.elevatedtech.systems and elevatedtech.systems all forwarding to this through Cloudflare's proxy. Okay, so if you're curious real quick what proxied means, basically that just means that Cloudflare is caching it on their servers to make it load quicker and more securely, and it will also hide your IP address of your web server. Now, obviously, I'm showing all of you guys the IP address of web1.elevatedtech.systems, but Cloudflare will actually hide it for the CNAME records. So if we were to go to terminal here and type in nslookup elevatedtech.systems, you actually can't see the IP address of the virtual machine. Whereas if we were to say nslookup web1.elevatedtech.systems, you can see the IP of the virtual machine. So it's kind of nice that it's hiding it. It'll prevent you from like DDoS attacks and that kind of stuff as well. So very good idea to use Cloudflare. Let's move on to setting up our website. All right, so we are here on Bootstrap Studio. I'm not going to show you how to download it or anything. You can figure that out pretty easily. We're going to click New Design, and we're going to actually start here. So there's all kinds of designs you can choose from. I don't know what website I'm going to be making today. I'm just going to try to find a design. There's also different versions on the side here that you'll find. Some of them are different. Some of them are the same. There's also very old ones, obviously. And you can always create a blank one. I'll show you once we get in there. There's actually templates you can use. So let's click Create. And here we are. So we have our website here. When you make your website, basically what you need to know, I'm not going to show you a full rundown of Bootstrap Studio. There's all kinds of tutorials about that online. But basically, on the side here is all your different layers. So if you select something, it'll open up the different layers. Over here is your studio. So there's all kinds of like different headings and stuff you can add. As you can see, I just added that section there. And it can actually suggest things for you too. So that's that section. There's also stuff online that you can install. People post different plugins, or I don't know what you call them, but I guess even the Apple navigation bar is on there. So if that's interesting to you, you can add that to your website, I guess. But yeah, you can just install those, and I'm actually just going to add this just for fun. Oh, how cool. So obviously it's very easy. It's pretty drag and drop. So the next section that you want to look at is down here. That's your different pages and your different images you can upload. So obviously if I switch, we can go to different pages over here. But then this is your different like options, I guess, for stuff. So if I click on a button here, as you can see, there's background, border color, all kinds of stuff I can change, and as well as the different heights and lengths and widths. And same for here. You can also change your different styles. I mean, you'll learn how to use it. It's very nice. I have really started to enjoy Bootstrap Studio. So that's that part. Okay, so I just changed a couple things. Not much, obviously. So that's fine. I found that the easiest way is if you create a new folder. So just make a new folder on your desktop. You're not going to be able to see this, but I can still type it in. We're just going to call this Elevated Tech. And as you can see, if I open up the folder pops up here and it's empty. So next thing you're going to do, you're going to click Save. And I would save this into that folder. So I'm not going to be able to show you this most likely, but you'll save this. Save your design into the folder, and that'll just make it easier for you to keep track of your different websites that you might be making. Next, you're going to go to Export Settings. That was kind of on that drop down there. And we're going to change our export destination. We're going to set this into our Elevated Tech folder, or whatever your website is. Some of these settings are kind of nice, some are not. So like minify JavaScript and CSS, normally that works pretty well. CN for libraries, yes. Google Fonts, that's good. Yeah, most of these are pretty good. Minify HTML sometimes doesn't work well for me. neither does use absolute path. So just mess with those at your own risk. Next, we're going to type in our website name. This will just make sure that all your buttons and stuff will work correctly. And yeah, so while you're in here, you can see there's all kinds of different options you have. Feel free to change those settings. We're going to click save. And now we're going to export. So this is going to take you much more time than what I'm showing you here, but this is just a basic rundown of Bootstrap Studio. I'm just going to show you mostly how to upload your website because you could be using a different website designer to create your website. You don't have to be using Bootstrap Studio. So that's that. So this is our elevated tech folder. As you can see, we have assets, contacts, features, index, integrations, and pricing. All of those options, all of those pages, to be clear. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to right-click our folder and click compress. So this is going to make a zip file. It says elevatedtech.zip. So what we're going to do with that is you're actually going to open it up in terminal. Now it seems scary, I know. Okay, so you're going to open up a terminal window here. We're going to cd to our desktop because that's the directory where I made our elevated tech folder. Now that we're in the desktop, we're going to type in scp elevatedtech.zip. This is basically just saying we are going to copy elevatedtech.zip using SSH. So now we're going to type in our SSH login to our virtual machine. That's in DigitalOcean, our droplet. So now we're going to say root at, and then web1 elevatedtech.systems. Then you're going to put a colon / where you want it to go. So I'm going to say home/root. Now actually I don't think there's a home directory for root. We're just going to say /root. So this is going to put it in the root folder. And yeah, so we're going to click save or enter, type in yes, and we're going to type in our password to our virtual machine and click enter. There we go. So 2.2 megs per second, pretty quick. It was also a really small file. So I'm going to switch back over to the other computer here, and we're going to finish off with uploading our website, or moving our website, I guess, between different folders on our virtual machine. I'll be right back. All right, we are now back. We are logged into our virtual machine. If you run ls, as you can see, we have elevatedtech.zip. Oh shoot, we have elevatedtech.zip right here in our home directory for root, which is great. So next, what we're going to do, we're going to sudo apt install. We're going to say unzip and zip. So we're going to install both of those utilities. I don't know why they don't come pre-installed, but we're going to install those real quick. We'll be right back. All right. We have installed those utilities. Now we can say unzip elevatedtech.zip. I used tab there, in case you noticed. Click enter, and oh my gosh, made so many files. We're going to run ls, and we're going to rm-rf, the underscore macOS thing. I don't know why it does that. It always does. And we're going to also remove elevatedtech.zip because we don't need that. Because our directory, our folder here, elevatedtech is here. So if we run ls elevatedtech, we can see what's inside. Right here, we have all kinds of files here. All of our files are here. So what we're going to do, we're going to move these to a different directory. Now, before we do that, let's move to the directory so we can see what's inside of it. We can run ls. As you can see, there's an index.html file. We're going to actually remove this. Then we're going to move back to our main directory, and we're going to say mv elevatedtech, and we're going to move this to user share NGINX HTML into this folder. Now if we change our directory to that folder, as you can see, elevatedtech is there. We're going to move into that folder, run ls. Right there is all of our different files that are inside of this folder. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to say sudo nano-etc-nginx sites enabled, and I think it's default. Yeah, default. So sorry for the skip ahead here, but I'm going to redo something real quick here. We're going to create a new server inside of this default file. Server name is going, the server name is going to be elevatedtech.systems, www.elevatedtech.systems. That's just saying both server names are fine. Our location is going to be / just like that, and we're going to say index is index.html. And we're going to close this, close that. We're going to add our root thing here, root user share nginx html / elevatedtech. So that was also part of the issue back here. var www.html is not what we're using. We're using user share -nginx. So we're Control X Y enter sudo service reload the page. Boom, here we are. So let me just walk you through what went wrong back here. So this is the default NGINX configuration. First of all, our directory was wrong. Second of all, we aren't listening on anything besides web1.elevatedtech.systems. So basically, you just got to define your other websites there. And third, there's also like an SSL certificate now for Web1. But we don't need that necessarily anymore for our main website. Our main website literally just requires like these few lines of code here because Cloudflare will actually handle the SSL certificates for you, which is very nice of them. So yeah, this is really just all you need here for your website. And you're just saying user share nginx html/elevatedtech is your website location. So we can close out of this, Control X, and go back to our website here. So elevatedtech.systems works. Let's check www. Boom, it also works great. So very easy, like one of the easiest website setup ever. And like I said, this is running through Cloudflare. It's running on the virtual machine that we created in the last video. So if you have any questions, let me know. I think this about does it for this tutorial though. This series, we set up a website. It's running through Cloudflare. It's running through DigitalOcean. Very easy setup. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with this as well. I have all kinds of tutorials on my YouTube channel, or I will in the future. I do know for a fact that I do. Alright, so if you're curious as to getting some more information about how to use like PHPMyAdmin, MySQL, and a little more in-depth configuration of NGINX, you should totally watch the Ultimate Guide. I guess I like the ultimate name. Watch that. That will show you a way more in-depth configuration of NGINX than I went into throughout this video. But that is, like I said, all for this series. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.